And hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. Call me biased if you like, but reggae instrumentals are at the very peak of artistic expression on Jazz green earth. And out of all the instruments, the drums are the very heartbeat and backbone of the entire band. A drummer sets the tempo, upholds a consistent beat, and sets a structure for the other instruments to follow. Drum play is no joke, no matter the genre, but the skills and focus required to hit the skins in reggae is on a level of its own, with only jazz drummers anywhere close in terms of quality. In simple terms, the reggae drummer is in a class of its own. There have been so many amazing players over the years, but in this video, we're counting down our picks for the Thunderous 7, the greatest drummers in reggae history, and we've based our criteria on sheer talent, innovation, and overall influence on the genre. So let's go. Angus Gay, aka Drummie Zeb. Though mostly known in later years as the frontman of pioneer British reggae group Aswad, this cool cat is among the most talented drummers that the genre has ever seen. Zeb's drumming was vigorous yet effortlessly smooth, and would often feature complex drum rolls that he would always infuse unpredictable dynamic nuances and time signatures that always mesmerized listeners, including myself. There are too many examples of where drumming totally performed magic, but the songs that I find myself always going back to feel his energy are Roots Rocking and It's Not Our Wish. His powerful drumming would help propel Aswad to global acclaim and proved that UK reggae groups were as legit as their counterparts in Jamaica. His amazing skills not only helped to cement a distinct British roots reggae sound, but his session work for various local artists like The Beat and Janet Kay also formed the bedrock of lovers rock as a distinct style and subgenre of reggae. Though an intensely powerful drummer, he made it look so easy. And what I found the most enthralling about his stagecraft is how incredible his voice was, and how he could combine it with his strong drum play without skipping a beat. Number 6. Style Scott of the Roots Radics Band. Lincoln Scott, more popularly known as Style Scott, is among the most important figures if we're talking about instrumentalists who engineered the evolution of reggae as it shifted towards a dancehall style between the late 70s and early 80s. As a drummer in what was then Jamaica's most important studio backing bands, though he came from a musical family, he truly fell in love with the drums when he joined the army and became a member of Jamaica's army band. After leaving the army, he became friends with Gregory Isaacs, who installed a drum set in his record store specifically for Scott to come and practice on. And not long after, he would join the Roots Radics that soon began to crank out classics for Gregory Isaacs, like the phenomenal Night Nurse album, as well as session work for other greats in the 80s. But his solid, powerful slams, rolling toms, and offbeat rim shots helped to place the Roots Radics at the cutting edge of Jamaican music when they partnered with dancehall producer Henry John Joe Laws to power Barrington Levy's first albums, as well as the early works of Yellow Man, like his breakout album Zongo 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 Zeng. If any one band truly made dancehall a global phenomenon, it was the Roots Radics, and Style Scott's powerful drumming was truly at the heart of it. Number 5. Santa Davis. If the term "been there done that" was a drummer, it would be the great Carlton Santa Davis. This Kingston native began to play with his church band at the age of 10, and by 16 was already a member of legendary Bonnie Lee's in-house studio band, the Aggrovators, and soon joined immortal greats, the Soul Syndicate, a band credited with creating the greatest reggae instrumental ever in the phenomenal Stalag 17 rhythm. After Peter Tosh parted ways with Sly Dunbar and Robbie Shakespeare, Santa Davis and his fellow Soul Syndicate member George Forward began to tour with the Stepping Razor, with Santa becoming Peter's right-hand man. And over the years, he's lent his talent to Bob Marley on tracks like Africa Unite and Chandal Babylon, as well as to Burning Spear on tracks like Tradition, down to Dennis Brown on tracks like Money in My Pocket and Westbound Train. His appearances and credits are too numerous to mention, and he's also toured with everyone from Jimmy Cliff, The Burning Spear, Big Youth, The Wailing Souls, and I could go on and on. He's currently Ziggy Marley's official drummer and is today one of the most in-demand drummers in reggae music. Number 4. Leroy Horsemouth Wallace. Though best known today for his iconic role in the classic movie Rockers from 1978, the great Horsemouth is indeed among the greatest drummers in the history of Jamaican music. He got his start in music as a student in the famous Alpha Boys School before landing a gig as a member of Studio One's in-house backing band, The Soul Vendors, while still in his teens. In what was still the rocksteady era in the late 60s, he would lend his lightning-fast drum rolls for legends like Ken Booth, Alton Ellis, and Marshall Griffiths. At the dawn of the 70s, he would power the debut album of Dennis Brown, as well as the first 6 albums of The Burning Spear, including masterpiece Marcus Garvey. Interestingly, Horsemouth would mentor a number of future greats that included Santa Davis, and not to mention he's played on numerous songs and would tour with the likes of The Gladiators, Inner Circle, Prince Far Eye, and Ijaman Levi, among many. And he's been credited in some quarters as the pioneer of the influential style of drumming known as rockers, though this assertion has sparked numerous debates, as another drummer on this list also gets the credit for that style. Number 3. Lloyd Knibbs of the Scatterlights. What would this list be without one of the architects of modern Jamaican music itself? Before reggae, you had rocksteady, and before that, you had ska, a fusion of mento, calypso, and American R&B that was pioneered by a band called the Scatterlights in the late 50s. The great Lloyd Knibbs was the drummer of that ensemble and truly helped lay the foundations of modern Jamaican music as we know it today. He would mesmerize audiences at live shows with his wizardry as he attacked the drums with his signature flying hi-hat cymbals and a rhythmic style inspired by traditional African drum rolls. A spectacular example of his brilliance can be heard on the Wailers' smash hit Simmer Down. And when the Scatterlights broke in half, Lloyd Knibbs would join Tommy McCook as part of a new band called the Supersonics, which became the in-house band at Duke Reed Studio, a place where rocksteady would be nurtured at the end of the 60s, with Lloyd Knibbs powering the careers of rocksteady acts like John Holt and the Paragons, with the debut album On the Beach in 1967. Number 2. Carlton Barrett. This musical genius was the backbone of the single most powerful force in reggae history as the drummer of Bob Marley and the Wailers. But even before then, he and his brother Aston Barrett had already sown the seeds of the mighty tree that reggae would become. At the age of 13, he chose the life path of a musician after hearing the Wailers' smash hit Simmer Down on the radio and took to the drums like a natural as he was a big fan of Scatterlights drummer Lloyd Knibbs. And not long after being added to a group called the Hippie Boys by singer Max Romeo, Carlton would be in high demand as a studio session drummer and would lend his skills to one of the first reggae tracks ever recorded in Bangarang by Stranger Cole in 1969, and would play on the smash hit Liquidator by Harry J, as well as Hold You Jack by Derek Morgan. After a stint with Lee Scratch Perry as the drummer in his backing band, The Upsetters, he and his brother joined Bob Marley and the Wailers, and the rest, they say, is history. There simply aren't enough words to describe his genius. His tight-fisted, thunderous, yet beautiful technique became the driving force that made Bob Marley reggae's #1 ambassador. And Carlton Barrett also gets the credit as the inventor of the one-drop technique that became one of the hallmarks of the golden age of roots reggae in the 70s. But for all his classics with the Wailers, my favorite performance of his was on the Augustus Pablo masterpiece from 1976 titled King Tubby's Meets Rockers Uptown. And I forgot to mention that Carlton Barrett will discover and nurture the next artists on this list. And coming in at number 1 is the mercurial, incredible Sly Dunbar. In terms of sheer influence, volume of music, raw talent, and overall style, Sly Dunbar is the guy. After being discovered and mentored by Carlton Barrett, he made friends with bassist Robbie Shakespeare and together became the rhythm section for producer Bonnie Lee's in-house band, The Aggravators. But it was as a member of Channel 1 Studios' in-house band, The Revolutionaries, that he really came into his own. He would create a style of drumming that became known as rockers, a style that became the most popular in reggae for years to come after he unleashed that technique on the Mighty Diamonds' debut album, Right Time, which is regarded as one of reggae's greatest albums. Sly would soon become the drummer for Peter Tosh as he would embark on a solo career and would play on the Stepping Razor's greatest albums before leaving the Power Black Uhuru into the greatest reggae acts of the 80s, a decade in which he pioneered a new style of drumming called rubber dub. And over the years, Sly would remain at the cutting edge of the industry and was among the first to pioneer the use of electric drums in reggae music. And into the 90s, he would power the careers of many new artists and lend his skills to dancehall classics as the decade would march on. with some notable tracks like Murder She Wrote by Shakademus and Pliers, plus the early works of Luciano. Trying to list the artists that Sly has worked with would take all day, but the man has played for everyone and is, in my humble opinion, the #1 drummer in the history of the genre. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, Jah bless.